Alright, let's dive into something that's both fascinating and, honestly, a bit heartbreaking. Have you ever thought about how something as mundane as a road could be a silent killer? I'm talking about hedgehogs here, and no, this isn't just a quirky animal fact, it's a serious issue. A recent study out of Nottingham Trent University has shed light on how road deaths are absolutely devastating hedgehog populations, and it's got me thinking about the bigger picture here. Here's the thing, we often hear about habitat loss or climate change threatening species, but roads? It feels almost too ordinary to be a major threat. Yet, this study found that road deaths can wipe out nearly a third of a hedgehog population annually. What makes this really interesting is that it's not just about the numbers, it's about the scale of the population. Larger groups can absorb these losses better, but smaller communities? They're on the brink. Just 1 or 2 deaths can push them toward extinction. Personally, I think this highlights how fragile ecosystems can be, even when the threat seems so everyday. Now, let's zoom out for a second. Hedgehogs in the UK have been declining for years due to habitat loss, predation, and even gardening practices. But roads? They're like a silent, invisible predator. What many people don't realize is that these collisions aren't just random accidents, they're a symptom of how we've designed our landscapes. Roads fragment habitats, forcing animals into dangerous paths. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just a hedgehog problem, it's a design problem. We've built environments that prioritize human convenience over wildlife survival. One detail I find fascinating is how the study differentiated between larger and smaller populations. Larger groups had more road deaths, sure, but they could offset it with higher reproductive rates. Smaller groups, though, they're in a tight spot. Even a single death matters. This raises a deeper question: how do we balance conservation with infrastructure? It's not like we can just stop building roads, but we can rethink how we integrate them into ecosystems. Hedgehog highways, for example, gaps in fences that let them move safely, are a simple yet brilliant idea. It's about working with nature, not against it. From my perspective, this study is a wake-up call. It's easy to dismiss roadkill as an unavoidable part of modern life, but it's actually a symptom of a much larger issue. We are losing biodiversity at an alarming rate, and hedgehogs are just one piece of the puzzle. What this really suggests is that small, thoughtful changes can make a huge difference. Leaving wild areas in gardens, creating safe passageways, these aren't grand gestures, but they matter. In my opinion, conservation doesn't always need to be about big, expensive projects. Sometimes, it's about rethinking the little things. So, here's my closing thought: what if we started seeing roads not just as barriers, but as opportunities? Opportunities to redesign, to reconnect, and to protect. Hedgehogs might be small, but their plight is a big reminder of how interconnected everything is. Personally, I think it's time we take this seriously, not just for hedgehogs, but for the health of our entire planet. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.